Hope you're doing well today. Hope you have nothing but good health, prosperity, strong mindset, and a healthy vision for the future. I'm upset. I'm upset because we've been lied to. And I'm going to tell you what the lies are. Oh, hold on. I gotta turn the window off. What? Close the window. Turn the window off. I can't be having that kind of noise in my videos. So, most of the way that we are taught to do things are counterproductive to the most successful route of living. Things don't change. We're still using the same framework for day-to-day life in today's economy. And a lot of people are waking up to this fact, right? But I just want to talk about the lies that you've been told and that I've been told and we've all been sold that are still going on to this day, right? Just a couple of them because there's a lot, right? Without getting too deep into like either politics or whatever, bro. But let's talk about the first thing, bro. Go to school, get a job, right? Everybody's been taught that, right? Go to school, get good grades, have a good education, and you're guaranteed to find a good job that's gonna pay you benefits. And when you retire, you're gonna get a pension. That doesn't happen anymore, bro. There are a lot of programs out there. University programs, college programs, right? Trades, whatever. A huge range, right? I looked it up and I could be wrong, right? But I saw around 130,000 potential programs or fields or directions of education that you could take. There was a study in 2010 by Princeton University, right? Basically, they looked at how much income an individual needs to be able to live a comfortable life that will bring up their level of life satisfaction, right? And they got the sweet spot to around $75,000 annually USD. So when you start making that, anything beyond that, it becomes kind of diminishing returns. The only reliable fields where you can go to school, get a job, and make that much income mid-career is in STEM fields. So you're looking at engineering programs, different branches of engineering, so you don't gotta list them all, right? Math programs, science programs, and when you look at math, you could look at like finance, accounting, maybe business, stuff like that. Science, biology, going into a specialized field, being a doctor, blah, 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 blah. You get the point. There are so many more fields than there are STEM fields, right? Because there's 4 branches of STEM, right? But you got to think about humanities, arts, you got to think about social services, stuff like that, right? A support worker or something like a caretaker, anthropology, sociology, psychology, fields that help directly with other people, like one-on-one settings. These are fields that are very rare for you to gain that kind of income mid-career. They rely a lot on networking, knowing people, building your own brand. So we're talking about like just go to school, get a job, get a career, you know what I'm saying? That pays and you can survive. And I'm not saying there needs to be a wealth redistribution, but I am saying there needs to be awareness to the fact that, look, as the system changes, as the world changes, there needs to be a change in the system, right? Because if you think about it, financial literacy has just recently been a conversation for classrooms in like middle school and high school. Not everyone can be a doctor, not everyone can be a lawyer, right? So this idea of go to school, get a job is an outdated one. Most of the programs that people can study are not going to get them an income that's going to let them live comfortably, especially as the economy gets worse. The second lie that we've been sold is the save and invest strategy. Like, if you can earn extra income and put it in a vehicle that protects you against inflation so that in the future you can reap its benefits, that's a great idea. When you invest in your savings account, right? Let's say you put money aside and you just save it, right? In Canada, most banks will give you 1% interest on your savings, right? So let's say in January, you decide that you want to start saving your money, right? You want to save your money because you want the future to be bright, you know, and I'm proud of you. But here's the catch. You put $100 into that savings account in January. When next January comes around, most banks will give you 1%. So that means from January to the next January, and if you don't touch it, that $100 will turn into $101. $101, bro. Right? Some banks are 2%. So you might get 102 if you're lucky. It's not that saving and investing is a bad thing. It's good. You should save and invest. But you have to understand that investments is a lot more nuanced than just put money and put it over here. Or saving is a lot more nuanced than just put your money away. Even when it does come to investing, investments are for people with money. Think about it, bro. Let's say you invest yourself, right? You don't want the bank to do it for you. So you open up your little Wealthsimple account if you live in Canada, and you find a stock and you're like, oh, this is a good stock. So you put money towards it and it pays dividends. Congratulations. So you're going to get maybe 6% of your stock back or whatever. If you're, you know, picking a good stock. If you have $100, right? You're only going to get $6 back, right? $1,000, 60. So it scales up. $10,000, 600. 6% of 10 grand, right? So if you're not working with a lot of money, you can't just think that investing is going to be your vehicle to success, because bro, it's going to take years and years and years and years and years for that compound interest to actually matter. So I don't care if it's the ninth wonder of the world, bro. It's more like the ninth wonder of your time. Like, what are you doing? Focus on learning how to generate income. Focus on how to develop a skill set that is actually going to move your life ahead. And the best way to fight against old information is to educate yourself. The more you learn, the more prepared you are for what comes ahead. So get out of the mindset that you can live life by doing what used to work. Now we're in an era where there's a lot more information and there's a lot more resources to move you ahead in life. So take that responsibility for yourself, build your skill set, and try your best to learn as much as you can every day. Hope you enjoyed the video. Watch this one, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.